Okay, thank you very much. Also to Ingrid and Detlef for inviting me to give a presentation on this topic. I'm not a philosopher or someone with an ethics background at all, but I always enjoy to be involved in such discussions. So as a title for my talk today, I chose that a responsible and safe innovation approach involving stakeholders is needed in order to get successful development and translation to the clinic of nanomedicine, but also of course, other medicinal products, medical devices, whatever products. As you probably have learned during this conference already, nanotechnology is expected to have great impact on basically probably every area in medicine. And I've listed a couple of specific areas where I know that there are specific applications going on. Nanotechnology at a more general level is foreseen to change healthcare in actually kind of a fundamental way, providing novel methods for both diagnosis and for therapy, new and effective tools even for prevention of disease, daily screening at the point of care, doing the testing, and also personalized medicine. What you will see is that medicinal products will get more effective and at the same time less toxic. Medical devices will also be more effective and their biocompatibility can be improved using nanotechnology approaches. And there will also be completely new types of both therapeutic and diagnostic drugs and devices. There are actually hundreds of nanomedicine products already on the market or in clinical trials, but there are many, many more promising candidates that have to be brought to the patient. A problem is if you have a good idea, a new concept, after you have your proof of concept, you want to get it to the patient, to the market, but then you discover that there is what is called the valley of death. You need to do all these things to get it approved for market. So how do you do that? I believe that it is very important for a successful development and translation to the clinic of products that you use the concept of responsible innovation. And for me, that means that it is an integrated approach from the start and throughout the entire product life cycle, that you, during all this time, you take account of the environment, health and safety issues. You're looking both at benefits and at risks. You look at ethical, legal, social aspects, and you take account of what regulatory aspects you need to comply with. And during this process, it's important to be interactive with all relevant stakeholders. So here's another representation of what is actually the problem. You have these nice ideas, these nice products, but then you get confronted by the people who are responsible for market approval to say, okay, but prove it. Does it work? Is it safe or is it not safe? So before you can actually get it to the patient, and also important, of course, for industry, get a return on investment, you need to have this battle. And in this process, the regulatory requirements can be seen as sort of a sieve. You have to answer the questions, does it work and is it safe? And if you manage to pass the sieve, you can get to the point where you can say that it is safe, or at least that the benefits are greater than the risks. This is sort of another representation giving the overview of the process that at several stages during the product development and also even after the product is developed and comes to the market, you have to think, am I still on the right track? There are requirements that you need to meet, and you have to pass all those gates in order to get there. And this concept, part of this concept is always called safe by design. You have to think about the aspects that can influence the safety, and you have to work on it. And at the same time, if you have interaction with especially regulators in this case, then you will learn how to do this, but on the other hand, the regulators will also learn the particularities of the product and will reach a stage of regulatory readiness. And during this process, it is also the intention that the uncertainty of the risks involved is reducing all the time. So let's look at the concept of risk a little bit more. The definition that is used for medical devices, but which is broadly applicable, is that risk is a combination of the probability of occurrence of harm and the severity of that harm. And then you have to go to acceptability of a risk. So that is influenced by the probability of occurrence and by the harm, but it is also influenced by the perception of stakeholders. And this may depend on several factors, including cultural, socioeconomic, educational background, the values of society in which the stakeholder lives. It might be quite different here in comparison with the US or China. The actual and also the perceived state of health of a patient, and last but not least, the opinion of the patient on whether or not he feels that a risk is acceptable. So this means that I believe that also in the risk management process, stakeholders' involvement is very important. So this is again a representation of what we call the RIVM Safe Innovations approach, and I think I've already kind of explained it, but you see it here again. You have the safe by design concept, which is often implemented by having requirements on industry to get this design as safe as possible from the start. But on the other hand, during the interaction that takes place to get the safe by design with the regulators also learn from the innovators, and they can think about how do I apply the regulations? Are the regulations even still equipped to deal with these innovative new technologies? Do I have to make new guidance or maybe even amendments? And all the time during this interaction, you also need the interaction with the other stakeholders. So this is actually a concept that we've been working on for quite a while, and it's still under construction, and it's being worked on by us on several levels. We have an RIVM project internally in the institute. There is a national program on nanotechnologies where also this kind of principles are being applied, the NanoNext-NL. But it is also being developed in the context of a large European project from Horizon 2020. It started this concept in NanoReg 1, and now the NanoReg 2 project has just started, and this is one of the things that will be further developed. Also in our own institute, we try to be a bridge between science and policy, and this means that we are having interaction with all kinds of other groups and stakeholders, the ministries of various types, both the environment, the health, employment, but also agriculture, education and science. We talk to industry, we talk to technology development, also to the science, the researchers, but also to clinicians, users, the patients that are involved with the technology. And we also have interaction internally in our institute, because some of the people in my center are working on medical applications, but we have also people working on food, consumer products, environmental risks, and we all face the same type of problems, so also their interaction is very important. With regard to nanomedicine, we even have installed a national platform. The scope of the platform is actually all types of nanomedical products, including drugs, devices, therapeutics, diagnostics, regenerative medicine, everything that is a medical purpose. And the purpose of the platform is exactly to exchange knowledge and vision related to scientific developments, both related to benefit and to risk, also ethical, legal, social and regulatory governance aspects between all the relevant stakeholders in the Netherlands. And I recently was involved in an initiative partly organized by Klaus Michael Weltring, sitting in the back of the room here, to have national platforms from several European countries connected to each other to even get more interaction between platforms in several member states. Something else that I would like to mention in this context, this was an initiative organized by the ETPN in January 2014. The Nano World Cancer Day was organized a few days before the World Cancer Day, and it meant that in 13 different countries there was a national meeting with the press and other stakeholders. In the Netherlands it was organized by two public-private partnerships programs. And we had for our session a chair from a big industrial company, one speaker from a national institute, two people from small and medium enterprises, one patient and one clinician, and we had 35 people in the room. And this meant that we had a very nice mix of stakeholders, and we had great interaction. And I can say that also afterwards, when we talked to the people present, everyone thought that this really had added value to have this sort of a forum and exchange of ideas. So my message to everyone is that if all stakeholders work together, nanomedicine can really make a perfect landing. So I hope we can make it happen. Thank you very much.